The next on your list is Vera's Laundromat. It's for sale for $500,000. What are we doing?
So I think you put that in there when we did this
Oh,
initially,
I'm just scrolling down.
Right. So here again, I went by her store, and she kind of has the same thing going on. This was on the 27th. Says down there in my notes they were closed that day, and I presume it's that day. It said on the note on the door that they had a family emergency and they closed. I mean, it's locked up tight.
Vera doesn't know how to run this store in any way, shape, or form. She can't even walk away from the store without. Okay, so is that what we're calling Sean about?
So we spoke to Sean, and initially he says that she doesn't pay her rent on time, blah 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 blah. And so yeah, so again, I felt as though this was a significant change, so that's why it's up there.
Yeah, very good.
You'll notice from
that's all I need to hear.
Beforehand, it says, okay.
Here we go. Sean.
Yeah.
Sean, Danny D'Angelo, the laundromat guy. We spoke a couple months ago in reference to 32nd Street, the laundromat located there, Vera's store.
Oh yeah, it's interesting you called me. Yeah, we locked her out, and I guess she's kind of abandoned.
Oh come on! She put a note in the glass that said that she had a family emergency. She didn't say that she was booted.
Yeah, well, we booted her. She didn't pay her rent. So
what a surprise!
Yep.
Well, why didn't you call me first? I'm not assuming you called anybody else. You just hurt my feelings, Sean. Come on.
No, we have to give her some time to be able to pay it.
Understood 100%. So what I would love to do, and what you'd probably enjoy doing as well, is having another long-term tenant standing by. I've put letters of intent together before where we are willing to talk lease terms and or sign a lease contingent on the current tenants vacating the operation. Look, I've had my fingers on this particular store for over 15 years. I've been looking at it. I feel for her. I do. Being an operator, I know what it takes to be successful. You retool the store about every 7 years. That also happens to be when my tax depreciation runs out, so it's nice. Sorry?
Yeah. Yeah,
and
whatever works, man.
I don't want to talk about the operator any longer because it's none of my business. And my MO, my future operation has nothing to do with him, her, them. I'm indifferent. I'm not numb to what goes on with them. But that said, I'm after one thing. Do you know what it is?
That space. Infrastructure.
It's not the space. There's a tree out there that covers the sign. It's been there forever. It just gets bigger. We need to do something about that. You know, that's the type of tenant I am. By the way, I'll never close the doors because I have to be there. I can't be in my stores. It's not what we do. We use Alexa systems to run them when our attendant isn't there. We use contract attendants. The store will be open 24/7 almost immediately. This is an equipment-based business. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. We don't have parties on Fridays or give away hot dogs. It's just about good equipment. So we want to be in first position. If you end up talking lease terms with someone else, that's fine. It's on you. I don't mind. I don't blame you. So right here and now, we can talk terms and put an LOI in your hands if you're prepped and ready to go. What's the square footage and what's your asking rate on 15 years?
It's 1840 square feet. And I haven't really talked to the owner about the lease, but she was at $11 a square foot. It's right on the corner though, so we would probably like to charge a little bit more. But
don't blame me. I don't blame you.
$6.87 a square foot.
$6.87.
Yeah, that's the triple net. We just increased it this month actually. So it went up from $6.75 to $6.87.
Sean, there's nothing I can do about triple nets. That is a way of life. It equates back to taxes and snow removal, which we don't have here, thank God. Trimming that tree, we'll do that once probably It's something that she never brought to your attention. Here I am talking about your tenant. I'm sorry. I said I wouldn't. The difference, the difference between us and our future operation and your previous operator is massive. Here's the difference. At $11 a square foot, she could not pay the rent. Why?
Nope.
Because she was running a horrific laundromat. Now, the difference between them and us is the debt service on brand new equipment. 1,840 square feet, albeit about 180 grand out the door, out the gate from the beginning. That's what it costs, $100 a square foot for washers and dryers. Not a new toilet, not a locking restroom where they got to put a quarter in the wall. I don't do any of that. I can write this, and she was also topped out at the end of her lease. We're looking to reset that lease. I can write this at $10 a square foot. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. It's because I never intend to be in this position and end up getting locked out of my space. No one does. No one with a pizzeria or a national chain wants to be locked out, but it happens when you don't know what you're doing. This poor young lady, here I am again, she was in there working every single day, and paying herself less than minimum wage. It sucks. It's horrible. But I don't intend to do that. I don't work in my stores. I'm not afraid to push a broom. When my contract attendants aren't doing the work, I come in and do just that. I start mopping. Oh, what are you doing, Danny? Don't worry about it. I'll get it. It ingrains in their mind what they need to be doing and how they need to be doing it. Again, a longer story. I've got your email. I want to put an LOI in your hands. I said there's 2 questions. I got the square footage. I know that we're going to need to write it for $10. We have supply chain issues right now. Have you heard? Do you watch the news?
Yep, I sure do. A lot of supply chain issues everywhere.
I normally buy a brand new car every 2 years. Not this year. I called my guy. I said, the wife wants an Escalade. He said, nope, not now. Don't even buy, because they're $40,000 over. Makes sense to me. I'll call you in 6 months. Imagine what goes on with washers and dryers. They're made in Wisconsin.
I buy stuff for other properties.
Yeah, even one. It's 6 months, it's 8 months. I'm in the same boat, brother. You've got some time ahead of you in order to vacate your tenant, whoever they may be. And we've got time ahead of us so that my partner Christopher and I can retool the store. It's hard right now. It's very difficult. The equipment that's in there is junk. She may or may not want to come back and talk to you about getting it out so she can sell it on Craigslist. Please. Come on. It's junk. It's worthless. I'm happy. I'm happy for her.
Yeah. I'll talk it over with you.
I don't want it to be ignored. What type? I'm going to ask for 12 months abatement. I want you to look at the fact that at $10 a square foot, you're going to be collecting $255,000 over the next 15 years. That's the real number. I've had my finger on this store for a long time. Now it's time to make something happen.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
I'll fire off the LOI. You'll see my partner, Christopher, CC'd in that email. Give us about 24 hours for the letter of intent. And again, I'll sign a lease contingent on the exit of the current tenant. I don't mind doing that. Talk soon.
Well, if you give us an incentive, we got somebody in our pocket, we'll make sure that she's going to be out.
Of course. Thank you, brother.
Okay,
Thanks. Now, as always, I know what I think. Well, let's back up. Didn't you offer to buy this store?
I knew that was coming. Yes, I did offer to buy the store. This was before our relationship began. It was actually right before our relationship began. I spoke to her. I found her. I don't remember how I found her, but she was at least pleasant enough to give me I think it was her income statement. She didn't give me the expenses. But when I spoke to her over the phone, I said, look, I don't have the expenses, so I don't really know how much we need to be offering here. Although I had a good idea as far as what the expenses would be per the industry standard, I said, let's go over your expenses line by line and see if we can't figure something out. So we spent a good 2.5+ hours on the phone going over her expenses. And at the end of it, I was like, based on the income, based on the expenses, and this was at a time of which I think she only has like a year or so left on the lease. I was like, we need to take that into account. We need to take the age of the equipment into the account to really derive a real price. And I was like, best case scenario, I'm at X. And
don't bullshit me. Don't say X. How much did you offer?
I said it was worth. I said two. What did I say? 225 or 250. And I told her that I was like, we haven't taken into consideration that there's no lease here, which we need to take into consideration because with no lease, it's really worthless. And so she was telling me, well, I'm going back to the property manager. He hasn't gotten me back to me yet, but he's supposed to give me a 5-year extension. I was like, all right, cool. I mean, that's 5 years, but we still have to understand that 15 is the standard. So we still need to take into account that there's 10 years that I'm not going to be able to recoup my money that I put into this. So that needs to be taken into account. And I hadn't even brought up the issue as far as the age of the equipment, because the age of the equipment I knew was old because she had told me, well, this one was brought then, this one was brought then. I was like, well, this stuff is kind of old, so we need to take that into consideration. But I hadn't even brought that up. And so she was like, well...
So you offered $250,000. What was she asking? $500,000.
That's the $500,000. Yeah.
She wanted to sell this store less than a year ago for $500,000. You offered $250,000, and she said, "Get stuffed."
Yeah, exactly. Because this was one of the
Wow.
very first stores I think I told you about.
And now, at what point, how many days, weeks, minutes, seconds later did you research online and find me?
It was very soon. It was probably like a couple of weeks. It was like a couple of weeks.
So you're going on YouTube and you find it. I only assume that you found a YouTube video and you looked at this guy's face and said,
Nope. I did not find you on YouTube. Nope. I was interested in, because I knew this is a daunting task. I've never done this before.
Right.
I have a background in a different industry that's similar to this, but it's not this. So to myself, I said, if I'm going to be successful in this, I'm going to need a coach of some sort. So I went online looking for a coach for laundromat. So I hadn't done any YouTube thing or anything like that. And that's how I came across your website. And so then I called and spoke to your associate or assistant. And, I told him, look, I'm looking to buy some laundromats. I know I'm going to need some help. So I need a coach. And, I gave him my particulars, and that's kind of how I got into the relationship with you. I think you called me back like either that day or the day after.
Sure.
And we chit chatted. But no, I didn't find you on YouTube. I didn't know of any of that stuff. And
well, I'm trying to recap. And look, we're not going to start with the confetti and champagne just yet because this hasn't happened. But this is
we're at the precipice.
Right. This is, in a nutshell, the way that it works. For the love of God, you were prepped and ready to think that you were going to take this poor woman's $500,000 sale price and cut it in half. You don't even know how often that happens. How many times that people buy these stores for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now you look at it through a different lens and you realize, wow, there's no reason absolutely ever to buy these stores. I'm sorry, there's not, and I'm not sorry.
And if I remember correctly, I think I came across her store. If you remember, you said you received a letter from me. So I think I mailed her possibly a letter and she reached out to me or something, or maybe I cold called her or something like that. But that's how I came across her. I did cold call her.
Ironically, has your investment dream become a nightmare? You're such a type A guy that you put together this letter, and ironically, I had received it because of my involvement in so many laundromats here in the Valley of the Sun. Long story, even longer, this is the way. You would have been $250,000 behind. Let's just say she sold it to you for $50,000. $50,000. Let's admit you would have jumped at that chance. All you had to do, and this isn't a year. We spoke to Sean in November.
Correct.
It's been 3 months. My involvement, 3 months. Fact. He didn't call back. Oh yeah, hey, it's ironic that you're calling me because we've chained the doors on her. No, it's not ironic. We know that you chained the doors. We know.
Which is funny because she said that, or at least the sign says that they have a family emergency.
Was that sign on the outside?
Rent.
Was that sign on the outside of the glass or the inside? Didn't notice, did you?
I don't remember. I know I took a picture. I know I took a photo.
Look at the photo and text it to me because ironically, she's still holding on to hope and feeling for those consumers of hers. And I feel bad for her. I do. We're not the specter here. We're not throwing people out the front glass in their laundry. She has lost her auto loan because of non-payment. No one blames the repossessor. No one blames the bank. If we let people run rampant and not pay for their cars and their auto loans, all of our payments would go through the roof. This is good. I'm going to forward you the letter of intent with all of the detail. I've got it all lined out. Keep in mind, here's me being your counselor. And I don't know how you found my website looking for a laundry coach because I avoid that term. However, the counseling I'm giving you now,
it was fated to be. It was very fated to be because if nothing else, I mean, not only did I find you, but you're also local, which I think is a very
I don't agree
as far as I'm concerned. But
I don't agree. It doesn't matter. We haven't met. We likely never will. But look, let's not get excited. This hasn't happened quite yet. We're in first position, and even if you're at $11 a square foot, you're already in a pretty good spot. 80 cents is better. And I did my job. I explained the why. And now we're going to write the LOI for 11. You leave out the triple nets. That doesn't matter. That's obvious. Anything else about this store?
There is a new store across the street, catty corner to this, that before I met you, I walked into that store. I think it's a Wave Max or something like that. I don't know how that plays into this. It is a card store. It is not a coin store, but it is a card store, and they feature all the accoutrements that go along with it, the wash bowl, the blah, 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 blah.
Okay. I want you to scout that store very carefully, and I want to call that store's landlord. There's no reason to leave that stone unturned. You don't know what might happen there, first. Secondly, you never know. That could be your store, and this place goes the way of the dodo. I don't know. You don't know.
Fair enough.
The LOI, the letter of intent, which is a simple matter. It doesn't mean you have a lease. It's just stating your intentions. It's all outlined. It's on its way. Just saved you $250,000